I'm showing just what I've done the last week or two. Um, this car here, you go to these swap meets now that we have them, and you can pick these things up for just a few bucks. And they need some help. They're nice models, but they can be enhanced. And Charlie Duckworth was kind enough to send me some information on these Mopac cars. So here's what I've done with this one. This shows the B end and the open door end on the auto car. And the model did not come with any latches on it. In the article that Charlie sent me, a guy went to great length. He used latches from Grant Line for reefer cars, and I didn't have any anymore. So I just put some blocks on there and some couple of pieces of wire and figured that was good enough, better than nothing. Cut off all the molded on detail, added grab irons, added a retainer valve and the supports to the end of the running boards. And then I shaved the ladder off on this one and replaced it with a ladder that's almost identical. It's even the same color. I'm thinking, well, you dumb shit. You could have just as well left the one off. And anyway, then it's got 8-line corner steps, which is mandatory, and wire grab irons. And this has been painted. Pardon? This has been painted, but it's waiting for decals from National Scale Car. I don't know when they'll show up, but when they do, I'll finish it. Then John Golden sent me a care package of his rejects, and there were 2 more of these things in there. These things came in varieties. You notice the other one had wood doors. These 2 have steel doors. They have end doors. They don't have end doors. I think they did one with a single door. They tried to get the most money out of their molds that they could.
Is this the model die casting?
Yeah, these are model die casting cars.
The 50-foot cars, yeah, okay.
Yes, yep. And both of these, again, have the end doors on them. And I don't, one car with an end door is fine. And I did a little, Richard Hendrickson wrote an article in Rail Model Journal back when these things were new. And he showed which cars were correct, which cars were close, and which cars were not. And the Texas Pacific is, and the Santa Fe is not. So what I thought I would do, instead of trying to match the decals by replacing the number, because the number on the car is for a fixed end car. They bought these things in groups of like 250, and maybe Roundhouse put out an end with car with fixed ends with the same number. I do not know. But anyway, instead of messing with the number, I just cut the end off the Santa Fe car, cut the end off the TP car and replaced it. So here you can see and then everything gets recycled. A guy asked for the 2 end doors, so I just mailed them off to somebody today. But yeah, pardon?
Clark, can you tell us what tool you use to cut those ends out of the?
Yeah, a regular X-Acto saw and the one called, is it UUM or something like that?
Saw. A lot of us call it.
Yeah, it's got like it's a handle with what looks like a double-edged razor blade that has teeth on it. And it's a good sharp saw. It works really good. So between the 2, I can hack stuff up.
Thank you.
Then the underframe was already assembled, and I just added a few levers and rods to give it some kind of detail on the bottom. Not a lot. This one here, I just cut the rungs off the ladders and then added 10,000 styrene rod for them and put the top mounted uncoupling lever on supports under the brake step and the end rails again, and change the the corner grab up on the running board. And that one, this is this morning. Once I touched it up with paint. I sprayed it with some paint that come close to matching. And then I went over it with a tinted dull coat with an off-white tint to fade the car out. Then I came back with Smokebox Graphics makes patches for reweigh and repack data. So I put some of those on. You can see those are the dark triangles, and then use scraps to reweigh the car, national scale car decals for the chalk marks. And this car now is, both sides are done now, and it's waiting for another coat of dull coat over the lettering I put on today. A while back, I wanted one of these cabooses, the Milwaukee side bay wood caboose. And I asked about it, and I ended up with 3 of these things, these old Silver Street kits. And I built one pretty much right out of the box. And it might have been nice in the 60s, but it ain't now. And besides, it had a radial roof, and the real cars had a peaked roof. But this is the first one I did. This is basically from the kit, and then I put KD leaf spring arch bar trucks under it, which are almost as bad or worse. The new one, they're new. They're the new slick plastic, but they come in 2 pieces, and they fall apart if you're not careful. So they're almost worse than the ones they had with that had the springs in them. Now, being as I have so many of these, last weekend I think it was, we were went to a train show, and I picked up a roundhouse caboose for I think $4 or $5. And then here you can see the one saw, not that that ZUU or ZUMM or whatever it is, but the regular,
CUMM.
yeah, whatever it is.
I
It's
put a
got
link in
U
the
and
chat.
there we go. And basically what I did is just made cross cuts. It's like filleting a fish, make cross cuts and then slice it down each side and pry it out. And the sides come off, and lo and behold, the sides from the caboose kit almost fit right in there perfectly, which was surprising. Then I scratched up a roof to get the peak again. And well, this shows the roof setting on the basic core of the model. There's an underframe that goes under this, and then the sides will go on. And then here it is, the way it's setting down the basement right now. Well, I've added the rest of the grab irons and painted them all black, and I've added the running board and the ladders also. So it's just ready for trucks and couplers, and it should be ready to go. Last week, I think I ordered some pigeons, or a week before, and I wish I could remember who I got them from, but I got 4 little packages of these little gobs of pigeons. And I think they come painted, but they're setting on grain. So you have to paint the grain. When you paint the grain, you paint the pigeons yellow, whether you want to or not. And so then went over them with some white and gray. And then I'm getting ready to plant one of I've got 4 towns on the layout, so I can put one of these herds in each town. I've got all the buildings have tons of individual pigeons, but these guys here are kind of neat. So basically what's in the Culver's cup is some kind of gold ground foam and some yellow and tan sand from Hobby Lobby. It's shiny stuff. It's not the greatest. So basically what I did was took that glue that's there is mixed. It's watery glue, and put a gob of that down, dump down a spoonful of the grain, and then plant the pigeons in that. So it looks something like this. And then a close up of the little guys painted.
Nice.
This project here is my next project. Jason Clocky keeps coming up with these oddball cars. And I made some of them go to Westerfield to get the parts, and he calls them franken-kits because he takes pieces from different cars, throws them all in a box that I can make something that looks like the car that the railroad owned. Now this one here, I've actually done more work to this today than what it shows here in the picture. But I ordered a radial roof and some early dreadnought ends from Westerfield. And then I bought hell, you can get these Acura kits for $5. And I bought one, and this thing is a pain to cut up because the joints are not even with the corners. You actually end up cutting through a lot more material than than you would think. So you get a sweat up cutting these things out. But anyway, this shows what I've done today that I didn't take any pictures of. Is you can see the peaks on the ends. I flattened those off and glued them to the ends of the roof. So now I know, and they're fairly square. So now I know how long to make the sides. Yes. So now I'll cut down. The sides are going to be too long, so which is good because I screwed up on my cuts a little bit because I was cutting through so much material, and I just use rail cutters to nip off sections. It's much quicker than trying to file it or sand it. And then when I get the sides done, I'll put those on and then fit the bottom in. And that's the end of my BSing. Next.
All right.
Any questions or not?
Thank you,
Updates
Clark.
tomorrow?
Pardon?
Updates tomorrow?
Could be, yep.
Yeah.
If
The daily blog.
Yep, not gonna do anything tonight. I gotta figure out,
I did put a link to that special razor saw in the chat there, so you can look it up. If you want
okay.
to.
Yeah,
They
I
have
need
it
to
on
get
sale, right? I see they have it on sale at the moment, so.
Yeah, I need to get some more of the blades.
Mhm.
They're so thin that they crack.
Ah, that's good to know.
Yeah, it comes with one extra blade, but I should have a half a dozen of them. It saws really good. I imagine it, the exact rail does a good number on your finger. I imagine another one would cut to the bone before you knew it. So am I done sharing? It's the next person's turn.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Clark. All right, you can see my screen, I take it.
Let's
Yes.
take a quick look at the Iowa Central. This is the entryway. We come down. We're going to come through the stairway there, circle around. We come into, this will be Ackley. I got all the structures stacked up here right now because we had to put them somewhere while we were unpacking. But here you can see a couple scenes are starting to develop in Ackley as we start getting things unpacked and put together. Come into, this is the interchange yard with the Illinois Central for the meat reefers from the Decker meat packing plant. We come around the corner, we come into a new development. This is going to become Abbott's Crossing. And we will have a crossing here with the Rock Island. And we come on down, we're going to come into, this would be Eldora down this way, their little farming community. We come into that nice rural scene with the Iowa River snaking through the trestle and the farm set up there. Curve around, we'll come into, this will become this is the 8th Street industrial section of Marshalltown. Has a meat packing plant, a bunch of other industries. It's a interesting little switching puzzle because there's no runaround in here. You have to plan your stuff in the yard. This will be the big loop around the peninsula. At the end here, this will become home for the, as you can see, the roundhouse is sitting there. We got a lot of other stuff. We come down, we come around on the other side of the peninsula will be the new yard for Marshalltown. Gives you a quick look at that. Here's a schematic from some Sanborn maps of what we're going to try to produce. We'll zoom in close so you can see this is the Western Grocer Complex, which we'll be doing. Up here at the top, this is the 8th Street Industrial trackage, so you can get an idea of how much was there with the Swift plant at the far end. we come out, and that's all Marshalltown, Chicago Northwestern, Great Western, and M and St. L yards. We come in, we got the M and St. L Freight House right here. This will be our yard. There was an ice dock down here, which you can see, and in this area right here, this will become the freight house area. Will curve up and around. And inside the curve right here will be the ice plant for the ice dock. We'll have the staging for Chicago going through the wall for the Northwestern and Great Western. But we'll come in, and this area now is all torn up, but this will become the Western Grocer Complex with the switchbacks. We come on down and we proceed out of Grinnell, or out of Marshalltown towards Grinnell, go past Elevator Row right here. This bridge will be the Milwaukee, where they crossed over the MSA. Now, actually, they crossed under, but in my layout, they're crossing over. We come, the backtrack back there will become the branch line to Roland and Story City. We come down here in front, and we come out to the town of Grinnell, and it's starting to shape up. Some of the buildings are getting put in place. Got a few cars here. We do have power on the layout now, so we come. This will be the town of Roland up here, with the grain elevator and a few other structures, including the canning plant. A nice Clark Props model propped up against the wall there. We come around. We get a nice rural bridge. Some static grass is starting to take place here. We got a hole through the wall, 8 inches of concrete. We come around and we come into Oskaloosa proper. West of Oskaloosa was the Rutherford coal washer. We got a model of that that's been built. We come into this will be Oskaloosa, the small yard. There were some grain elevators there, stock pens back there. We had to truncate this a little bit, still working on what we're going to be doing here, but it'll come together. Then we've come to this little troubled area here. This is where that bit back out, you can see the boiler, the water heater sits right here. We're waiting for a plumber to contractor to get back to me on replacing these units because they are of age. And then we'll get all the piping back against the wall, and that'll open this area up so we can run some tracks through here a little bit. We come into the town of Eddyville, which is south of Oskaloosa. This is where they cross the Des Moines River. You can see a nice little rural town shaping up, and we curve around, cross the river with Bridgeport, which is where the power plant for Iowa Southern Utilities was located. You see the power plant and its coal pile here. There you can see Chicago staging up against the wall where it comes through from Marshalltown. We'll be doing some work with staging in this area. And this bench work piled under all the foam is Albia. And there will be staging track above there that will go through the bathroom. Everything's going to go through the bathroom. As you can see, I've got holes in the wall behind there. We'll be tracking through here with basically staging tracks, because at the far end of the railroad, the other end from Albia, is of course Mason City. And here we are looking at the Decker meatpacking plant as it's starting to come together and shaping up. Still some work to do and repairs to be made, but it's happening. We come down into what is Mason City Yard. There will be a turntable here. Not sure if it's going to be that one, but it will be one. And you can see how the yard is starting to shape up. Above Mason City, we'll be putting the staging tracks for Peoria. And the line will come out of the bathroom wall down there. May be able to put the interchange in with Nemo, the Santa Fe at Nemo, so we can dump some of those Santa Fe reefers. And then we'll come in here, and this wall here leads to what I hope will be the expansion area. We got a space 13 by 23 to build a little bit of dirt to be excavated there. And then we'll come through. You can see where we're coming through the wall and the stairway here. We've reinforced the stairway so we can do that. And that is the end of my tour.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Sure, it gives you a little bit of a look at the space I'm dealing with and what I've had. I've moved in, I'm in the process of resurrecting, and Clark and a couple others have operated on it, so it's going to be very similar to what we had before, but Marshalltown's going to be expanded. So,
Yeah, very nice.
Doug,
Let's-
how many people are in your house?
there are two of us.
Okay, have you thought about having an on-demand hot water heater or
Oh, yes.
water heater?
Yes. Yes. I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm waiting for a bid from the contractor. I requested it in October. And in December, I learned that they couldn't get parts, and they said it'd probably be April to replace all that. So, yeah, we're looking into it. We've just put solar panels on the roof. We're slowly moving in direction of becoming more energy efficient. So,
Well, the on-demand really do work well. I was quite surprised. My son put one in the house, in his house, and the water, it's nonstop hot.
The important thing is it makes more room for the railroad.
Well, that's
That's-
exactly.
that is the hope and plan. Exactly. Yes. The contractor who services the boiler, he's been down there and has seen some of the setup. So he knows what I'm wanting done in the space, and I'll get him down there again. So,
Very
yeah,
good.
we can handle about 15 or 20 people for an operating session. So we got space to spread out, do that.
They can all take a shower when they're done if they need to.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to be really cheap. This is Gonzo journalism, model railroad journalism. See that book, Pennsylvania Baggage and Mail Cars? To me, that is the Bible that I'm using to model a M&E train, mail and express. Also, another Bible that is online is it's called The Makeup of Trains. That's published by the Pensy, and it was published anywhere from every 6 months to every 3 months, depending on how busy they were. And you can go on there, and if you look at the list of trains and the type of cars that they hold, especially M&E, because an M&E was considered a passenger train, yet did not always carry a passenger car. They carried, and I will get this off my computer, they carried baggage cars and mail cars. And these are what are called B60Bs. And they were the stock standard Pensy baggage car. This one here is in Fleet of Modernism. It has stripes down it, and that striping on that is all one decal that goes over the entire side of the car. And it's a real trick to do. Anyway, I'm building a train that is going to have approximately 20 of those cars, along with X29 express box cars, which are steam line equipped. And that's because the cars there's a person that works in this car. They have vents on the top. If you see one of these B60s with vents, that means that there's a messenger inside. And the messenger was armed, and he was guarding whatever was being shipped inside that car. They shipped mail. There was sometimes 1 or 2 RPOs attached to the train. They were express service. They had priority over virtually everything. They made the trip from Chicago to New York in, well, rapid time, like 16, 17 hours. And they got unloaded almost that quick. But when you look at the makeup of trains pamphlet, you'll find that there are certain points where the cars are taken off en route. Pittsburgh was one of the places that the cars were taken off and delivered locally. Some cars came as far as Florida. The baggage cars could be, the R50 reefers, they could be stocked with fruit from Florida. on one part of the trip, and on the next part of the trip, they may be taking newsprint out to the West Coast, out to Spokane, and the Great Northern. The Great Northern ran a lot of Pensy reefers that had newsprint in them. And Bethlehem Car Works kits, which are interesting because I can get them very inexpensively. They just require quite a bit of assembly to do. And I, of course, the Walthers B60Bs, which are in various flavors. I don't know how Walthers decided what flavor they were going to model them in or how many they made, but I've been lucky and gotten some of them. I don't want to pay, they go as high as $100 on eBay, and I do not want to pay that for a baggage car. I want to pay 25. And the Bethlehem Car Works cars I can get, the kit I can get for $10, $15 sometimes. But anyway, that's what I'm working on. And hopefully I will have a viable train of that. Not a lot of people model just a straight baggage train, an express train like that. And it's been a lot of fun because I've learned an awful lot about handling of equipment or handling of merchandise and stuff.
What are you gonna pull that with?
Pardon me?
Question.
What will you pull it with?
Well, on the Pensy section, if I model post 1958, 59, I would be pulling it with an ABA set or an AAA set of E8s or E7s, which I've got Broadway and I've got Lifelike. I prefer the Lifelike because they don't have sound and they run really nice. They run, those E units run really well. If I do the steam era, it would be double-headed T1s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately,
I'd like to see.
the T1 that Broadway Limited has, the sound is similar to a, here, I can almost show you here. See the saltine can? You all recognize one of these. Okay. Imagine this filled with cracked corn, rotating. That's what the steam sound sounds like. Okay, that's what the chug sound sounds like. It's horrible. So I will run it without the sound on. I will run it with the whistle so I know where it is on the layout and I can spot it. But yeah,
Scale sound system speakers.
that doesn't help the input from the chip on the board. Okay.
It will make it sound 10,000 times better.
I've put headphones on. I've taken the Broadway Limited output and run it through a preamp and put headphones on and listen to it, and it's not good.
Oh, okay.
It's not good. The QSI sound that they did in the early days of BLI, the QSI chips were recorded from an actual steam engine. Several of them, and they have sound. In fact, if you listen hard, you can hear crickets in the background. Okay, so they used an actual recording. BLI uses a tin can going down a flight of steps. I just don't like their sound. Anyway,
All right.
That's it.
Very good. Well, thanks, Ken. It's 7:23. Ryan, you want to go and show us what you're doing?
Or are we, I can, but you want to close off? We're almost an hour.
Well, we can close off and then we can go next week if you like.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Well, thanks, everybody. That was a lot of fun. We'll do it again next week and have a great weekend.
Yeah, too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Well done.